Hey everyone, Wanderbot here. Welcome back to Cavern Kings. Let's do this, and who should I play as? Shark, I think. Okay, we're gonna be in the arena, we're gonna put on the hoodlum hat, and let's go! Okay! I hate games sometimes. So we're going to play a game that is not a game that much. Or more per se, is not freaking frustrating. I just rage quit XCOM, that was garbage. So we're just going to sit here, just tossing yourself into the ceiling forever, because it's the only gun where you can actually get infinite buoyancy. And it works. Oh man, why does this work? Okay, well this is dumb. Fisting to your face! Face! Thank you. Ow. Ow, that hurt a little bit. Let's stay away from that. And so far so good. Okay, so I just rage quit XCOM. If that's not immediately obvious to the people watching me. I did not want to deal with that anymore. It was fucking stupid. It was pissing me off. I am very angry right now. I do not handle frustration in video games well. And suffice to say, I'm going to be starting that series completely over from the get-go because that was awful. Across the board. Lost my sniper, lost my heavy, lost my assault, lost one of my medics. Actually, I don't know if I lost my assault. No, she was still alive. Still, that's not cool. Don't like it. It was awful. No matter what, it just was not fun. And so we're not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to come back to it. I'm just gonna come back later. I've got this game. And then I'm probably going to go play Batman or something, because Batman is fun, right? Yeah. I'm probably going to go play no, fuck. There goes the money. I'm probably going to go play Batman, because Batman is inherently fair. Everything that happens to me is my fault. XCOM, everything that happens to me is freaking the worst kind of RNG and just pure sadness embodied. Next time I'm starting with, I don't even know what I'm starting with. Crying, mainly. Not blowing up UFOs, maybe. I don't actually know how the game scales difficulty apart from time. Maybe it's just purely time. I don't know. Drop the difficulty, watch the strategy guide. Bird, I mean, part of the problem is, like, I've played this game, like, 3-4 times now. Like, I've played XCOM with much stronger starts. Go watch my first series on it ever. Like, I had a couple of deaths here and there, not to the extent of that. And that's part of the reason why I'm rage quitting it. Okay, what about Vagante? I don't know if I have the aha. Well, I just sent myself hurtling into the face of an explosion. I don't know if I'm going to play Vagante tonight. I don't know if I can handle the stress. This, like, it is just not. It is not. I don't know. Like, I felt like I'm plenty prepared. I'm fairly good at the XCOM games, but that shit was not working. I don't know. Man, Power Fist is actually really handy for the arena. I mean, I do end up careening into things. Kind of painfully, but still. No, I don't know. Like, I'd love to Vagante tonight, but I don't think I can handle it. I've also spent like 3 hours today trying to get my Vagante footage working. Because, unfortunately, DX Store released a new update, which, has a new video codec, which doesn't work. Which is annoying. Okay, well, either way. Let's see. Oh, you did not all die, surprisingly enough. It's been a long day. It's been a hard day. Unfortunately, I mentioned a couple of times that I'm, like, helping my neighbor with his pool. Unfortunately, he's the kind of neighbor he's the kind of person that's like, alright, so we're going to eschew, like, sensibility and, like, efficiency, and we're just going to do things, my way. Not really the highway way, but still. Oh, Fallout. So the reason why I don't want to do Fallout is I don't have my HD mods installed. So, I mean, we could play Fallout, but I'd have to spend, like, half an hour to an hour getting them all set up. I was trying to get it set up earlier, but I ran out of time. And I just have not had time, lately to continue with it. Ah, yeah. Okay. But so, I'm also trying to prep for Batman Arkham City, which is coming out next week. Hence Batman. Plus, also, Arkham City is my favorite of the Batman games by far, so it's just kind of like, this would be pleasant. But yeah, I'd love to play New Vegas, and have fun with it. But until I've got my HD mods, it's going to be ugly, and I'm not going to want to play it. So I'm avoiding it for the time being. I am super low-key. Okay, so about my neighbor. Bad-mouthing my neighbor. Now, he's like, I want to say he's like 60, maybe almost 70. But he decided that the best way to clean out his pool was to have me do it, which isn't necessarily a problem, except for he's got like an incredibly deep pool. So I get down in there, it's filled with effectively several years worth of pond scum. And he's like, alright, I'm gonna give you a bucket and a rope, good luck. And like he effectively had me fill the buckets up a third full, and then he dragged them off. So it's just like me standing there for like hours and hours in the sun being like, alright, are you done with that bucket yet? And he's like, no, I gotta put it in my garden. And I'm just like, okay, fine. And then unfortunately I'm also like super nocturnal, so it's just like, you should come back tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I'm just like, I am seriously considering just staying up all night, finishing the stream, walking over, just finishing it myself, and then yeah. Woo, look at all these shots coming in. Let's actually take out the eyeballs for a second. Finishing it myself, and then going to bed. Because I think that's a little bit better than waiting for him to get up in the morning. I don't know. I am salty. I'm angry. It's not going well. I should probably stop this, which is why I've switched over to Cavern Kings. Because, you know what? Again, this game is generally inherently fair. I'm actually having a fairly good run of it, although that could have hurt pretty badly. Didn't, and we're okay. Perfect. Okay, the pool is Scumlord. I mean, quite honestly, it is disgusting. It's, truly, if you have a pool and, like, you don't keep it up, just get rid of it. They're not fun to keep up or like get back into working order once you've gone back and like cleaned it up and stuff like that. It is painful to clean and just awful. I've had a pool for a while and we haven't opened it up in a year or two, and it's just like, I don't want to see what happens when we open it up. I really don't want to be there when we do, because I don't really want to help, because holy crap is it a massive inconvenience and like physical pain. Also, I've got like 3-4 jumps now. That is handy. Let's actually murder these guys while we're here. Oh, we are dying. We're dying. And we're dead. Damn it. Alright, fine. Let's just keep her going. But yeah, no, that's why I'm playing this. Am I going to be playing Fallout 4 when it comes out? Yes, I totally will be. Okay, let's switch over to the jackhammer. I like the power fist, but I think it was actually killing me there. Yeah, he had like a, I think the pool's like 8-9 feet deep, something like that. I can't reach the top from the deep end, and that's part of the problem. Water doesn't drink beer, he just drinks hard liquor. This is not false. Okay. But, yeah, no, I'm going to be playing Fallout 4 when that comes out. I am stoked for that. It looks beautiful. Oh, man. I've been slowly trying to catch up on EA news, because I've been too busy doing manual labor to be able to watch EA, which is, E3. There we go. Which is kind of unfortunate. So, like, I heard of Horizon. Oh, man. Horizon is actually possibly one of my top games from E3. I have no idea what it is, but visually it looks amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that one coming out and giving that a go. Because, I mean, robot dinosaurs. What could go wrong, right? Right. Let's see, what else is there? There was, I mean, there's Dark Souls 3. That's coming out. There's, shoot, what is there? I mean, there's Fallout, go figure. Everybody's seen Fallout at this point, or at least everybody probably should have seen it at this point. Come on, there's got to be more E3 games that I saw that I just can't remember right now because it's late. I haven't been looking hard enough. I don't know if I'm gonna pick up Battlefront. I don't play competitive shooters, so like even though I love Star Wars games, it just doesn't seem super attractive to me, especially for, you know, especially for a game that I'm probably only gonna play, you know, a little bit. I have Battlefield 4, I have Battlefield 3, and I don't play either of them. They're both fun games, but it's just not my thing anymore. I used to play the crap out of Bad Company 2, but, you know, that was back when I had free time, and, you know, recording wasn't a thing. Okay, should probably actually work through these. Yeah, robot dinosaurs sounds like Fossil Fighters again. Never actually heard of Fossil Fighters, but don't think it's going to be terrible. Okay. Yeah, relaunching a pool is easy. Okay. Can't. Okay, fuck. Die, everybody. Okay, thank you. Relaunching a pool is easy if you take all the water out. Above ground pools are a lot easier to set up than in-ground pools. In-ground pools tend to collect water over the winter, and then you have to clean them out. And if you don't do that, then you start getting some really heavy... issues. Oh, crap. He was hiding in the gems. Why can enemies hide behind gems in this game? It doesn't make sense to me, and it pisses me off. Okay. Let's just rain some fire down on these levels. Okay, crap. There's too many eyeballs here. I can't deal with it. We're in trouble. We're probably going to die. Haha! Okay. Victory from the jaws of defeat. Oh, you're right next to me, and I'm going to be in trouble if you hit me. Okay. So far, so good. Barely get any healing here, though. Last run had a lot of potential, but just too much burst. Letting the eyeballs run free is generally a bad move. Okay, still alive, managing somehow. Come on, give me heals. You are worthless. Pretty much for the extent of this. Oh, come on. I can't make the jump. Okay, got it. This is hairier than I'd like it to be, and it's just this one eyeball. These two eyeballs there. Okay, there's one. Okay, there's two. Come on, give me that health. Give me that health. There we go. Hairy as fuck. Woo. Don't care. Don't want your cheese whiz. Don't want your meatballs. Don't want your anything. How much health money do you have? Just enough, and there's a little eyeball thing inside of me. Okay, this is actually kind of hard. Which is not exactly what I'm looking for today. I am very salty. How are we not dead yet? There we go. I had 1 health left. That was rough. Okay. I really hope Dark Souls 2 goes on sale soon. That would be nice. Do I like zombie survival games? I would love it. I love zombie survival games. Some of them, at least. I don't like DayZ, but oddly enough, I really enjoyed Dead Island. At least, like, the first part is like, oh man, we're, like, surviving on an island, and then I realized it was dumb. Problem with the zombie survival games, none of them are good. I did pick up Project Zomboid. I'm looking forward to that one coming out. Well, not coming out, but I'm looking forward to actually loading that one up. That's probably going to be a Catterday thing. I just have to, you know, make sure that everybody has it yet. I know, like, Rockwar does. I think somebody else has it, too. But that would be kind of a fun Catterday thing. You know, I should probably avoid blowing that up for at least a little while. Okay, breathe, Wander, breathe. I think I've also got a little bit of a headache, probably from being angry. That's not helping me too much here. No treasure chest yet, surprisingly. Mostly just boxes, mostly just exploding. If I looked into Dying Light, yeah, I covered it at launch. Played it for, oh god. That game actually makes me angry a little bit. I like Dying Light a lot, it's a good game. The problem with Dying Light is I was doing a series with Rockwar and Radiant Gaming Network, and I think it took us a little bit too long to record like half of the game. So Radiant decided that instead of like trying to organize, you know, us playing again, he's like, oh nope, they've taken too long, and decided to complete half of the game without us, and then bring us on for the finale without telling us. So when we loaded up the game, it was just like, all right, you know, where weren't we supposed to be doing this mission? He's like, no, I already did it. And then we completed the game, and now I can't go back. My save file is gone because I completed the final mission, and this is before they patched this bit out. So I effectively have half of a Let's Play that I have to restart, which is frustrating to no end. It's just stupid and pisses me off. So at some point, I'm probably going to give Bird my spare key for that, and we'll play through the games together. Because I personally like Dying Light a lot. It's just... there's nothing that gets me angrier than somebody screwing a Let's Play intentionally. Like, if you screw it up and, like, you can't do anything about it, sure. But people that, like, show up and, like, make it worse or actively ruin it somehow, intentionally or as just kind of a result of, like, some level of hedonism, is just kind of like, I am not happy with you. And I don't think I've actually ever mentioned this to him, but I'm just kind of annoyed. Let's see. Sounds like I should take 5 minutes to decompress. Probably. That said, 5 minutes to decompress is 5 minutes closer to me going to bed, and I don't want to do that. Also, this is just salt day. Like, pretty much no matter what, I think I'm going to be salty. I don't think decompressing is going to be handy. I think it's just going to be a matter of, water is salt. Okay. Why are these items worthless? Someone, give me a healing item. At least we did get the black hole, not the black hole box. That would be handy. No, at least we did get our hands on Book of Secrets. That might actually help here. I like how the eyeball enemies will routinely fire themselves off into the like pits, the little pain pits, which is great. Okay, come on, let's just sit you down in here. Oh, I stunned the guy midair, so he fell into the pit. I was wondering about that. Well, handy. Okay. Rename my channel to Wander Salt. I mean, it's only occasional. Like, I was actually playing Destiny earlier. I really like Destiny. And somebody's gonna hate me for that one. Somebody's going to wildly disagree. Hello. Somebody's gonna wildly disagree with me for my enjoyment of that game. But I personally actually found it to be kind of nice. I can already sense that the plot is kind of nonsense, though. Hey! Alright, done run. Or at least comparably closer to done than we were the past couple ones. Now we've got an active healing ability. Oh, are we going to do damage? And oh, are we going to keep ourselves up here? Yes! Okay, unfortunately my saw blades are a little bit on the effective side, but still. It's a little bit better than nothing. And in fact, it's incredibly better than nothing. It's probably one of the best items in the game, especially if you're using this weapon above all else, because it does not look like the health scaling from having a shovel is better than having this. Okay, there we go. This is easy. Okay. One who disagrees. Yeah, okay. So are we people... what feels pretty abandoned are we talking about? Oh, Magicite. Oh, God, yeah. Apparently I have not expressed my dislike for Magicite enough to the point where people actually want to know why I dislike the game. It's just purely a factor of I dislike it when developers abandon a project midway through. I'm still comparatively kind of angry at, oh, we're in the middle of, like, a hard bit, aren't we? Yeah, sometimes these guys come out at, like, awkward times, and it's just like, alright, time to just shit enemies on you for no good reason. Oh, you are so nice. Should probably hit the TNT, even though it's not going to help me too much here. Blow up! Everything dies. Thank you. But so, you know, I just don't like it when developers abandon games. So, like, Double Fine right now, which, you know, used to be the developer that could do no wrong, has done wrong and has pissed a lot of people off, including me. I mean, admittedly, my opinions are meaningless at best, but it's just one of those where it's like, if you're going to make a game, finish it, or at least bring it to the point, or, like, hand it off to somebody who can. Don't just, like, finish it, call it done, and never hand it to anybody. So, like, at least with Double Fine, they're like, alright, here's mod support. Like, there's that. Magicite will never get finished, will not even ever get close. And to me, I feel like that's going to be that's always going to be kind of a sticking point. That, like, oh, hello, shit, that's a lot of dudes. I don't want to deal with this level of dudage right now. It's just too many. It's just painful. Luckily, we've got the saw blades of extreme pain, and we seem to be murdering everything is exploding. I don't even understand, but it works. Okay, and that was quite a lot of money. But, oh, you are handy. Okay, so now we're not invulnerable. We're not even close, but boy, are we closer. I need extra jumps. Unfortunately, we're kind of ground bound down here. There's not much I can do about it, for at least a little while. Hello, shit's exploding. But I can be okay with it. Especially because I can float above the yellow speedy guys. Perfect! Okay. But, no, if the developer of Magicite had opened it up for mod support and was like, look, I've lost interest in this project, I'm a solo dev, this is my first game ever, and, you know, I can't muster the desire to finish it. Fine, you know what? I can respect that, I can work with it, especially from, like, a solo team. Double Fine's felt like, yeah, we're not making enough money on this game because everybody's leery of, you know, how early access it is. So let's just axe it. And it's like, that feels... come on. We keep getting stomped by things, so it's almost impossible for me to get up here to the wonderful, wonderful treasure chest that will save our butts. Okay, let's... oh, hello. It's like it's reading my mind. Okay, so... oh, come on. Perfect. But... no, if Magicite was actually worked on by, like, a team of people, or taken over by a team of people that could finish the game at least to some satisfactory level, I'd be down with it. But, like, I feel like Steam is kind of this weird... is going to be eventually this graveyard of great games done wrong or never finished. So, you know, Space-Based DF9, Magicite, Stomping Lands. Shoot, there's so many of them. And it's like, it's not really fair to the consumer to market all of these early access games. I know that it's like Kickstarter. There's no real guarantee, and there doesn't have to be, for, you know, games to be finished, but it always feels poor form when, you know, a game that gets marketed really heavily on Steam, gets really popular on Steam, and then everything gets remotely close to finished. Same thing with Kickstarter, same thing with that, whatever. I feel like there needs to be some level of accountability and stuff like that. Because I mean, look at all of those games that like I've just mentioned that will never ever get finished, and like the developer effectively makes it away with the hype train. Like, the problem is, like, and this is a huge culture problem with the digger drill. Yes, the most useful upgrade for the arena, where you literally dig through nothing. Maybe if it increased my damage or something, that'd be handy, but no. But, you know, gamers get really hyped about things. And, I mean, take a look at E3. The entire thing is hype. There's very little substance about E3. There's no, like, there's generally very little to the demos. It's all, you know, investor, you know, press. How well can we show off our game? Holy shit, what the hell was that? Something just exploded, and it exploded hard. But, you know, it's all about, you know, building the hype train. And, you know, getting people really interested. And, I mean, take a look at Shenmue, for example. Shenmue is a game from the early 2000s. It was on the Dreamcast, of all things. And it surpassed, I think it broke some kind of record how fast it surpassed its Kickstarter. And, like, sure, it is a vastly influential game that, you know, deserves to be, you know, continued, but maybe not to that level of, like, enthusiasm. It also does kind of annoy me a little bit that, you know, Sega is just like, alright, we're kickstarting this one. I want to say it was Sega. No, it might have been a Sony game on this. I don't actually know who made Shenmue. Maybe it has nothing to do with Sega, apart from the fact that it was put on the Dreamcast originally. Oh, that is handy. Okay, this frame rate is not handy, but that's okay. Once all of these guys blow up, we'll be holy fuck. Alright, well, that's not what I expected to run across here. So I just got like a massive power boost in about 10 seconds. That's pretty ridiculous. But, yeah. I mean, the Dreamcast did have like a lot of solid titles. It's not nearly as bad of a platform as, like, I make it out to sound. It's just one of those, it's like, it is the last major platform to fail. Because, you know, Sony is still going strong. There's some kind of upgrade down in the drill pit down there. No way I'm going to be able to reach it from here. But, no, it's a hype building convention, and, like, I'm totally cool with that. Personally, I prefer things like PAX, where at least it's more kind of like a showroom type deal. Is that my first? No. Whoa! I must have just gotten 4 clumps of iron in one go. Wow. That's absurd. But, I mean, it's a hype building thing, which is not a problem. Like, hype is awesome. If you can get people really hyped about things, you can do some really cool stuff. Problem is, you get people really hyped about an idea and then, you know, not deliver on it. You get people really pissed at you. So I mentioned Destiny earlier. That was quite possibly one of the most hyped games to come out in the past while. Last year at E3, everybody was slavering over the game as far as I could tell. Maybe I could be wrong. I keep saying EA. I mean E3. I don't know if I'm saying it wrong or right this time around. Just understand what I'm trying to say here. Okay, but so, you know, everybody was slavering over Destiny, thinking that, you know, it's going to be a first-person shooter, it's going to be gorgeous, it's going to have this great story, just so on and so forth. Ad infinitum up until the game comes out, and it turns out to be just a generic team-based shooter. Fairly good, very pretty, but nothing that anybody was ever asking for. The best game company that has a good reputation never seems to be disappointed, Square Enix. Have you ever heard of Final Fantasy XIV before they remade it? That was, like, Square Enix has a terrible reputation. In fact, a lot of people hated them for years and thought they were going down into the pits. They were having serious money issues and stuff like that. Final Fantasy XIII is generally widely considered to be a massive flop. And like 13-2, well good, had terrible writing. A lot of people did not like it. They still turned out to be successful games just because of the hype, and, you know, Final Fantasy gets sold pretty much no matter what. But ultimately, a lot of people have not been happy with the with Square Enix and what they've been doing in years. I mean, take a look at the Deus Ex series. You've got... Oh, no, Vigor Beetle... Oh, fuck. There was a Vigor Beetle, and I didn't get it. Oh, well, we'll get another one of those. Also, something died over here. I don't know what it is, but whatever died, oh boy, gave me quite a lot of stuff. Oh, hello. You're handy. But so, Square has the reputation of making amazing games, and then shitting on it real hard. So, for example, So for example, Deus Ex. They made Deus Ex Human Revolution. Wonderful game. What the fuck? Alright. You know, wonderful game. Great reboot to the series, especially after Invisible War, which was complete garbage. Hello. More Vigor Beetles. I need these things. Then Square Enix decides to make, what is it? Deus Ex The Fall or something like that, which is garbage. It's horrible. And so Square Enix has one of the more rocky histories as far as, like, consistency in the gaming market and stuff like that. Personally, I wish them well. I think they're one of the few companies that can kind of make a comeback for making really shitty stuff. Actually, I mean, most can. But I always feel like they're the most heartfelt whenever shit goes wrong and they want to fix it. Because, I mean, they truly have been having a pretty good track record lately, which I definitely can respect a lot. Like, EA is having a bit of a renaissance, but it's just really a roller coaster of bad ideas that sometimes stick. And, like, I will believe it when they stop being super bad. Like, if Battlefront launches with 0 problems and it's a wonderful game all around, I mean, paint me pink and call me Susan. I'm just gonna use that phrase now because I like it. Oh, black hole box. There we go. But, I mean, EA has a really bad reputation. A lot of people vote it as, like, the worst company in the world for, like, the past couple of years. That's because gamers get, like, really hyped about things. But, no, I mean, I'm hoping Square Enix kind of turns it around. I'm super stoked for Final Fantasy VII. I loved it as a kid, though I ended up playing more Final Fantasy VIII because I got stuck in 7. It was the Chocobo section. Don't ask, I couldn't figure the minigame out. I couldn't figure out how to drive a Chocobo, of all things. And also the art style was a little bit hard to get into. But no, 7 was by far definitively probably the best Final Fantasy game. I don't know, that one's a little bit harder just because it did start kind of the whiny protagonist trope, and I did not like his characterization in the movie. It was very, very lame. Crisis Core was amazing. I loved Crisis Core. Oh, there's a boss. How risky am I? Nope! Okay! We almost just got sent into the void. That would have sucked. Hey, more jumps. I like those. But, so, I don't know. I'm super stoked for Final Fantasy VII. If only because I feel like I want to play the game, but I would much rather play it in an HD version. My fear is that they're going to get rid of the humor and the camp that was endemic to Final Fantasy VII. For example, for one very, very infamous section of the game, just as a minor spoilers, Cloud puts on a dress and infiltrates a brothel. And nobody believes it. Everybody thinks it's stupid. Except for the guy running the brothel, who they're trying to catch for whatever reason. He just totally is down with it and, you know, just has Cloud Strife in a dress. As a thing. It's great. I loved it. That was one of my favorite sections of the game. Oh, we're getting all sorts of power-ups on the ground. And not picking them up, we are also fabulously wealthy. We've got 42,000 stuff. But, so my hope is that, you know, they rewrite some of it, because some of it will need to be rewritten to make sense. I would actually really like it if they almost integrated the plot of Crisis Core into Final Fantasy VII more effectively, because Crisis Core was amazing. It was actually one of my favorite games on the PSP, if not my favorite game on the PS3. That one's a bit of a hard sell, but it truly was like an amazing game. And it made the plot of Final Fantasy VII make a hell of a lot more sense. Especially, no, that's spoilers. But I also just liked the main character of Crisis Core more. So that is also a thing. But no, I don't know. I would love to play Final Fantasy VII. I'm super stoked for that. Stuff like that. Okay, back to my original rant, though. Just because I was actually trying to make a point about early access and stuff. Okay, so you get all of these gamers hyped about things. And then you get stuff like Destiny that doesn't match the hype. And so, ooh, wow, there's a lot of something there. You know, you effectively... Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? I bet there's just a bunch of dudes get stuck in the corner. I kill them all at once and we run into this problem. Okay. But, like, everybody gets hyped about something, and then when it's not what they want, they get, like, super pissed about it, and like, it's the worst thing to ever happen to gaming. So a lot of people, you know, don't like Destiny. And, like, some people have played it, some people haven't. Some people hate the idea of it more than the execution. And, like, personally, I do think the game has some massive glaring issues. First and foremost, that it wasn't released on PC. Like, what kind of idiots makes a first-person shooter MMO and doesn't put it on PC? I don't know. But, well, Activision thought it was a good idea. And everybody else just suffers as a result of it. Because I absolutely would buy a full-price copy in a heartbeat of Destiny for myself and Shell, and we'd probably play it right now. And probably have more fun with it, because I hate shooting on consoles anyway. It's awkward, and I don't like it. Okay. Do I still get the saw blade launcher lag in this? Oh yeah, no, this game slows to a goddamn crawl after a certain point. But it's not the saw blades actually that are the problem. It's the melee weapon. After a certain point, you just have too many effects on the screen. Explosions. They have a new explosion sprite in this game that causes the game to chug somewhere around the half an hour mark. Square Enix mobile games. I have not even touched a Square Enix mobile game. I don't even know what they're like. I'm just going to assume they're bad. I have no idea. But no, Square Enix is rocky, but they're getting better. I want to say the latest Tomb Raider series is also Square Enix, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong about that one, but I don't think I am. And that's actually kind of encouraging, because Tomb Raider is damn good. Especially the new one. Okay, but, no, I don't know. Hype on games. Oh, shit. Well, there's some stuff. At least we got the black hole box, so we don't need to worry about getting close anymore. But, like, you get gamers really hyped about a game on Steam. Early access, Kickstarter, whatever. And then they cut and run, you know, they don't finish the game, whatever. And there's no way for anybody to get back at the developer. I mean, not exactly a great example, but, like, Paranautical Activity, I mean, the developer for that threatens to kill Gabe Newell. He actually does get some level of recourse, but of course he says it in jest. And, like, this is the one time I'm going to say that what Spooter did isn't as bad as not finishing a game. How? Why? I don't know. Why I'm going to say this, I don't know. But, like, quite honestly, like, being frustrated at Steam and, like, saying things wildly out of turn, to me feels like, yeah, you know, they need to be removed from Steam. But selling a game that will never be finished and isn't even close to being finished, you know, the developers have quite obviously just ditched forever, shouldn't be on Steam anymore. I think Stomping Lands got removed. It might be back, but like there were a lot of signs that Stomping Lands was Dunsky way before it, you know, got pulled from Steam. But like, I always am just confused at like how, I mean, yeah, Magicite is, I guess, complete-ish, but like, they tout that it has a crafting system. You can craft your weapons together, which you could just totally find in a chest. And for some reason there's a durability system, even though it doesn't matter, as long as you're economical about things. It's stupid. Space-based DF9, Stomping Lands. I mean, I did a review for Reign of Kings, a mini review for the Steam deal daily thing. And it's kind of one of those where it's like, these games come out, they get massively hyped, and oh right, I was going to talk about Shenmue a little bit more. Okay, they get massively hyped, huge amounts of support, you know, lots and lots of money to the point where it's comical. And then, you know, they release a bad game. They release an incomplete game. They don't finish the game. And there's no way of going after them, because currently, like, Kickstarter kind of exists in this weird, like, negaverse where it's like, yeah, you know, you're not actually owed a product even though you can kickstart it. I'm like, I get this, but it's like, there are developers that very obviously have effectively cut and run. I mean, I think Magicite was kickstarted. I know Paranautical Activity was, and everybody was pissed that there was no co-op mode. And, like, justifiably so. If you're not going to include a major feature that everybody paid for, you better have a damn good reason apart from it was too hard for us to do. But, like, Magicite is finished. I think that one went through a Kickstarter. And, like... I don't feel like he put the proportionate amount of work into the game for the amount of money he received for it. And I know he's funneling it all into Roguelands. And, like, maybe, and, like, this would redeem it in my eyes, if he actually handed out, you know, copies of Roguelands to everybody that kickstarted, or at least a massive discount to everybody that had, you know, got Magicite beforehand. But, like, aside from reputation, there's no accountability. But, like, the thing is, it's pretty easy to, like, just kind of fade into obscurity, come back later, or work for another team. Like, I mean, who's a great example of, like, terrible developers getting away with a really bad reputation? I guess the developers of Orion Prelude. Like, they have a terrible reputation, and they've done a very, very good job of getting back from it. But, like, most people don't even remember. Most people aren't even going to remember Paranormal Activity. And, like, if somebody said the name Spooter, somebody might barely recognize it a couple of years from now. But nobody's going to know. So, like, he didn't commit career suicide. He just committed very temporary career anonymous side. I don't even know. But, like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those where it's like, if you manage to make it away with, like, $2 million to somebody's money, $100,000 to somebody's money, and multiple people's money, and, like, you don't deliver on the product, or you just don't deliver much, it's like, you kind of put forward the bare minimum product, then there should be hell to pay, and there never really is. So back to the whole Shenmue thing. Say Shenmue comes out, it's garbage. Say, you know, you get, like, 3 hours of gameplay out of the game. It's not nearly as deep as people want. So on and so forth. Say, you know, $2 million is their budget. Mind you, Shenmue 2 had a budget of like $16 million. I think at the time it set the record for the highest production value title to come out ever, and maintain that for like 9 years or something like that, up until Grand Theft Auto 4. And like, that bothers me a little bit, that, like, we might actually be getting to the point where, like, Shenmue, you know, 2 comes out, or 3 comes out, and it's just bad. It's non-functional, it's worthless. And I'm a little bit worried that, like, this is going to be one of those, like, shitfests that kind of wrecks, you know, good things, like Kickstarter, for example. Kickstarter is great if you're, like, a developer and you're actually trying to get your game funded. And, like, it can be super useful. But if you're... well, we've hit the point where the game has crashed. I'll stop shooting for a little while. Let's see. Okay, game is back. Let's just use our melee weapons for a second. Unfortunately, let's switch to our shooting. Only 23 minutes in. Wow, I made it a lot farther last time without running into this issue. Wow, look at all those power-ups. There's a lot of things dying here. So part of the problem is, I'm just going to explain, like, what's going on here and just break the rant. Because honestly, like, everybody gets what I mean. Like, early access, lack of accountability, bad money, and developers dumping games way too early. It's just a bad thing. And, like, I'm terrified of what's going to happen. To, like, some pretty good services and some pretty good games. Just because people have trouble. But I guess I'm just worried that Sony's not actually going to fund the game, and it's just going to be entirely, you know, reliant on Kickstarter funding, which is not going to happen. And also, I'm terrified of the precedent of game companies being like, alright, you know, should we make the next, I don't know, should we make the next Battlefield game? Here's a Kickstarter, go fund it. And it's like $70 to even get a copy, and it's just like, well, I could just wait until the game comes out, but no, you gotta put it on Kickstarter first, and then they can blame Kickstarter and run with the money. Like, the day when a AAA company effectively cuts and runs with Kickstarter money is going to be bad. I guess, you know what? No, Double Fine's done that. A lot of people consider Double Fine's, Broken Age and Space Base DF9 Kickstarters to actually have effectively been that. So I guess I'm not inherently wrong. Double Fine's reputation is having some serious issues, for probably very good reasons, stuff like that. But no, it's like, I know the money dries up and whatever, but I guess it's a matter of like, don't make promises you can't keep. And like, I know everybody's supposed to believe it, but like, everybody rides in on the hype train like there's no tomorrow, and then everything goes badly. Okay, yeah, I was gonna explain what's going on here. This game just literally cannot handle all the special effects, all the numbers, and I've got these things all over the place called vortex shards. Just sucks everything up into one location. and it cannot handle all the collision issues and all the damage and the math and whatnot. So you just end up with this kind of like weird broken mass of just enemies and death, which is glorious to say the least, but problematic if you want to have like a frame rate and stuff like that. Double Fine is AA, I guess, yeah. But no, I get the whole thing, like money, like you got to pay the bills, and if all the funding runs out, you can't continue with the game. But like, don't promise us Shenmue 3 if it's going to be like Shenmue sort of 3, but it's really just like a third of what 3 should have been. But, you know, we didn't really feel like putting the funding in, so we're just going to blame Kickstarter for why we didn't have enough money. Like, if you're not going to have enough money, limit your scope. Don't just promise big things. And, like, don't release a buggy product. Don't release a game that's incomplete, even though you promised, you know, all of these things. So, like, if, I mean, if say, DICE, for example, or not DICE, EA, decided to kickstart Battlefield 5. You know, they decide to say put it up on Kickstarter, and they're like, all right, you know, we want to make Battlefield 5, but you guys have to kickstart it. And then they run out of money, whatever, so it has, you know, the same issue. Releases with an extremely bad you know, an extremely bad launch, nobody can play it. Everybody's pissed. I mean, a lot of people were pissed, and a lot of people were burned away and burned off of the idea of ever doing it again. But, you know, then they can start blaming that they didn't get enough money on Kickstarter, so they couldn't pay for, like, a good release of the game, or these features. And it's like, this feels like bullshit if they promised them in the beginning, and then they kind of retroactively turn around and start blaming everybody. Yeah, part of the problem with the frame rate is all of these bosses just take so many hits to kill. I don't know. I guess going back to Square Enix for a second there, and like this is part of the reason why I respect them as a company. So I mentioned Final Fantasy XIV. If you never played Final Fantasy XIV before it became what it currently is, it was one of the worst MMOs to come out in the past like couple of years from such a large company. The game was unfeasibly featured and horribly funded comparatively. So unfortunately what ended up happening is the game just was not playable. Nobody could play the game, and nobody was having fun with it. This is really pretty for the moment when the frame rate is okay. If there were no bosses in arena mode, I could probably go for the next 50 minutes, no problem. But so Final Fantasy XIV results in like the worst, you know, the worst game ever, and well, worst MMO ever, or of the year, or whatever. And Square Enix sits down and they're like, all right, we fucked up. Let's actually make this. Let's actually make this good. And I mean, judging by the numbers, Final Fantasy XIV is the only WoW clone WoW killer to actually succeed. I could be wrong. But Teely in chat makes the point. You know, he feels like people aren't accepting the responsibility of basically becoming an investor. I guess I don't see it that way. I don't see of Kickstarter as being necessarily investing, and a lot of people probably kind of have a similar mindset. I guess I think of everything anywhere from Magicite to I see games like Magicite. I see games like, you know, Shenmue now. I see purchasing anything just like purchasing it from anywhere else. Say you buy, say you're at a restaurant and you want to order chicken cordon bleu. And chicken cordon bleu. Alright, so you can get the premium edition, normal edition, whatever. And here's what you get. This is what we're going to give you on the chicken cordon bleu. And, like, they come out and they hand you a pair of buns with, like, a slab of partially cooked chicken on it. It's like, you know, this is what you paid us for. I feel like that's my breaking point here, where it's just like, this is why I have the disconnect, and this is why I disagree with the idea of, you know, people being investors. Because in my mind, you're not investing in a thing to gain a profit from it in the end. That's what investors do. You know, people who invest in a game to profit from it in the end, They're not buying a product, ultimately. Well, investors are buying a product to see themselves get more profit. There's the financial risk reward. Whereas, you know, Kickstarter inherently, it feels more, I mean, yes, you're technically investing in it. So I guess if you want to use that, just because you're investing in it just because there's the possibility of failure and, you know, you might not get it. We might actually have the drill ball of this. Nope, we're not there. Not there yet. Yeah, it's not investing, it's gambling. But it's like, it's not advertised as such. I mean, there are warnings all over the place. But it's one of those where it's like, I feel like, yeah, with gambling, like, you sit down and everybody has the expectation that, you know, they're, well, okay. I mean, personally, I hate gambling, so I'm not going to talk about gambling too much. But I feel like Kickstarter is kind of like you order a sandwich, and then it's just like, here you go. Here's your old bread and partially cooked chicken. Good luck. And like, I understand, like, from a company basis, like, not everything is possible. But I can quite easily point at, like, Double Fine and say that, like, and, like, a lot of people can do this and say that, like, they took a bunch of Kickstarter money and used it for the wrong product. So they used the Space DF9's Kickstarter to fund Broken Age, I believe. Which everybody is justifiably pissed about. Like, that's not what the money was used for, and that's not what they should have done. And ultimately, you know, a game that got Kickstarted got thrown out of early access into 1.0 because they didn't feel like working on it anymore. And it's like, again, I can understand from, like, a company's perspective why this sort of thing isn't good and why having, like, a bigger parent publisher works, but I feel like I feel like I understand the plight of the developer, that, you know, they make big promises and can't fulfill them. But if you're going to make big promises and then blame it on, you know, the inability to do X, then you shouldn't have done it in the begin with, and that the fault lies with you. And that in the end the consumer gets shouldered with the responsibility financially. Cuz I mean, say back to the sandwich thing, like, you can say that the meal isn't big, but this is all proportion. You scale this all the way up. Say you go and cater a wedding, and the caterer rolls in with, you know, a couple of sandwiches that are a couple days old that they bought from Subway, or, you know, they kind of put together themselves, but, you know, it's kind of obvious that they weren't really paying attention and they didn't really make much of a sandwich. I'm just gonna wait until the frame rate recovers. There we go. But, like, you know, maybe I can understand with, like, the extra features, the stretch goals, you know, the things that get tacked on after the fact. But, like, I guess maybe truly what I think I should be advocating here is, developers need a better way of, well, no, they don't need a better way of budgeting the games. I mean, the reality of the situation is, I read a review on this a while back, or not a review, an article on this a while back, but they said to the effect of, like, most games cost 10 times the amount that, you know, they are on Kickstarter. And I can totally understand and sympathize with that. That's why the whole Shenmue thing, I keep coming back to, because $2 million to create Shenmue is pretty freaking low. The only reason why I think, say, for example, Yooka-Laylee is much more doable is because Yooka-Laylee got kickstarted for, what, $3-4 million? And they're only, you know, 5 people. My health makes no sense. Yeah, I'm actually healing so fast that the game can't actually reset my health down fast enough, so it's going well into the 700s, 800s, and stuff like that. But, no. Like, you say my comparisons aren't fair, but I'm just explaining that it's like you invest in a service, a product, or whatever, and you expect it to be delivered, and when you're given a broken, faulty product, I don't feel like the onus should be on the person that originally paid it. It's like saying, you know, I pay $2,000 to get my wedding catered, and the people are like, yeah, we'll give you this, this, and this, and this. Or if you give us slightly more, you get this, this, and this. And then in the end, you know, they give you half of what you asked for. And then they say, well, it's your fault for not giving us enough money or expecting us to come up with a project this successful. You know, so say if they promise, like, you know, 500 people's worth chicken cordon bleu, you know, veal parmesan, yada yada yada. And then they show up with not even remotely close to half that, or half that, and, you know, they're very unapologetic about it, or, like, make no means of ways of recompense. It feels like it's been stolen. You know, something was lost, and not in a fair way. And, like, I understand, you know, developers are people, studios are run by people, and, like, people have bills to pay, mouths to feed, and stuff like that. But kind of the disconnect between the consumer and the producer in this situation, as well as the middleman, has never been addressed, because there truly hasn't been a whole lot of major issues, and there's very little, like, legal recompense along the way. Let's see. And so, Teely, again, is, you know, saying, again in the chat, that I'm oversimplifying the issue. But, I mean, just, I paid, say I pay $1 million, $2 million for a bunch of food, to be delivered to X location at X time, and they only come out with, like, half of it. I'm going to be livid. And so, like, yeah, you could say, like, wedding catering is an oversimplified analogy, but, like, say you sit down and hand a place like $2 million, say, cater this, I want this amount, and they say, yep, that's totally it, then I'm going to be pissed. I guess the same thing would be said about, like, yeah, it is difficult to come up with an analogy while I'm streaming. Yeah, I mean, I guess here's another example. I do commissioned artwork. Yeah, construction has a similar problem. Yeah, but the thing is, like, even with construction, like, yeah, you run into, like, unforeseen issues and you have to deal with it. But usually when like a construction company fucks up, they usually eat the cost. From what I can recall, either that or they're legally, you know, accountable for doing so. But let's take this on a commission basis. I recently did a commission for Keith, and you know, he paid me, you know, $150 effectively for a banner, and I did as good of a job as I could have, and, you know, he knew what he was getting into, I knew what I was getting into, and say I only gave him, like, half of the banner, he'd be pissed, and it definitely wouldn't be worth his money, and it'd be gambling, and yeah, that's how commissions work. I mean, you gamble on the artist actually being able to deliver on what you want. The Kickstarters, you know, you're gambling on people delivering what you want, but as an artist, if he paid me and I didn't deliver on a product, the sound effects have almost completely stopped at this point. And, like, it depends on the contract, yeah, but, like, I'd say I put on the contract, and, like, the thing is, I can put on the contract, I will produce this art, and, you know, assuming you have a reasonable like a reasonable contract, you sit down and you say, you know, this is going to be on par with the artist's general level of quality. I don't remember the wording in the contract I generally hand out. I should go back and make sure that it's actually good. But effectively, I'm accountable to create a product that I am capable of, you know, creating and expected of me. And there's no it's not supposed to be one of those where it's like, my portfolios are all of these arts that I spent like 20 hours on, pretend they're 10 hours, and, you know, bill you for a shitty product because I rushed it or, you know, didn't bother completing it in full. Let's see, how long am I willing to work on a $150 commission before I say I need to move on some of the work that feeds me? I guess the reality situation is I would feel accountable if I had fucked it up. And, I mean, it definitely depends on the situation. If it's one of those where it's gonna end up costing me, like, twice as much, yeah, I can see kind of the point, but at that point, I'd refund the money completely, or, you know, renegotiate if possible, because I don't even have my hands on the keyboard anymore, or the mouse, but, I guess I feel like it's my responsibility as a producer to make up for, you know, to make up for the fact that I screwed up in that situation in either my estimation or whatever. That said, say the consumer, say if Keith came back to me and it's like, well, what I really want is like this, this, and this, and, you know, kept tacking things on, then it's his responsibility. So say he keeps tacking on, you know, extra features, extra art that he wants done. Like, that's not my responsibility anymore, because that's not what was in the contract. That was not, you know, in the initial deal. And it's, you know, not fair to me for him to keep adding stuff on without me raising the price. Let's see, how do I refund the money in that situation? I mean, that's where like a legal process is. There are designers that have been sued. I mean, I'm gonna use web design as a better example. Like, you can totally sue somebody for having, like, making really shitty art for you. If it's, you know, breaking the contract. Usually it's not worth it, but you totally can. Conversely, I can sue somebody for not paying me enough for the product I did, as long as it's within the contract. Like, it's totally possible to do both. And totally legitimate to do either. And, like, it feels like within Kickstarter, there's the precedent of there's no accountability one way or another. And I mean, it's not like the consumers really have much accountability that they need doing, apart from, like, say somebody somehow screws up the payment system. But, I mean, yeah, keep in mind the company is refunding all of their backers. And, like, that's the thing. I can understand from, like, such a large circumstance that you can't do that. That doesn't happen. But I feel like people's reputation, in the case of, like, you know, running away with... I mean, let's use Stomping Lands, for example. I feel like the developer ran away with... he got, like, $650,000 and it was a 3-man team. So, assuming that the developer... actually, no, I know the developer was sitting on all the money because he was paying the artist and handing out money in short bursts. So, the developer in that case... ran away with, you know, $500,000+ after paying, you know, the artist and the music guy just a little bit of money. And, like, nobody can even find him to talk to him, interview him, like, what's the status of the game. And, like, I feel like he should be legally responsible if, at this point, the product is being discontinued with no explanation, and for not, you know, even getting remotely close to the product that was promised. I feel like he would be liable at least for some amount of that. So, you know, either, I mean, I don't want to say jail time because that's ridiculous, but that's kind of how it would work in a lot of other situations as well, because at that point that's scamming. But no, jail time isn't it, but, like, I think I guess that's it for the court to decide. But Stomping Lands was a straight scam. I mean, it wasn't, not necessarily. They started a game, the developer just disappeared. And, like, Magicite absolutely, like, does not deserve to be, like, thrown back in this situation. Like, as much as I'm grumpy about it, at this point I don't feel like he needs to refund anybody. He delivered effectively on what he wanted, it's just a shitty product. And it pisses me off that, you know, people actually need to look at the Kickstarter to see if Roguelands is being funded. But, I mean, I guess it's one of those where they're... I guess I feel like there should be a situation where, like, we say Shenmue doesn't release. Say they do just release a shitty, effectively mobile game. And it's like, this is Shenmue 3. Here's the story, and you're just switching through stuff slowly. I would be pissed. Everybody would be pissed, and I feel like there's a good way... I don't feel like there's a good way for, like, Kickstarter to deal with that level of, like, accountability, and I'm sure they're shitting themselves every time one of these situations happens, because I don't think they want to get sued, and I'm sure it's all in the contract, so on and so forth, and that's kind of the problem, that they put so much, like, legal barricades up to the idea of, you know, the responsibility is purely on the consumer, and I don't think that's a right way to do it, because if you're going to have a business entirely based on the goodwill towards the consumer, that, you know, that's grossly exploitative, and ultimately, like, it works right now, But I don't know. There are lots of things that you could do, though. Like, there are, I mean, I guess to go back to the Square Enix thing, they tightened their belts, they dealt with it, and they added more. And truly, that doesn't work with, like, other development options. Like, I guess what's a good example? I mean, I guess Space-Based DF9, they spent all the money on a different game. I guess maybe that's the one I come back to, and that's kind of why I'm worried about the Shenmue thing. That, like, they spent all of their money that was supposed to be spent on Space-Based DF9, which really it wasn't even that complicated of a product. But they spent it on their... Jesus Christ, this thing is itchy. They spent all of their money on Broken Age instead, I believe. And, like... Oh, okay, this is a good example that I can work with. There's a game, Crawl. Crawl came out like a year ago. Crawl is an amazing game, by the way, and I highly recommend it. But I don't know if it was Kickstarted or not. But it was advertised as this. They said, you know, it's going to be a dungeon crawler. One player plays as humans, the others play as monsters. And they, when asked about online multiplayer, said, probably not. We would love to do it, especially if there's interest, but but we might or might not be able to. It's kind of hard to do, and ultimately, it's not within our scope. And, like, I think, in that situation, like, that's the proper way to do it. So, I guess to go back to the paranautical activity people, a lot of people, you know, put in a lot of money to get the game up to, like, an online, you know, to get the game up so it has online co-op. And then, you know, kind of turning around and saying it's too hard always felt like such a shitty cop-out. Because, I mean, hell, Magicite has online co-op. Risk of Rain freaking has online co-op. It's functional. It actually works now. And, like, if you have Risk of Rain, how did Paranautical Activity not? I don't know. But I feel like that's kind of one of those where it's like, I guess investors in kind of a real world situation, if you invest in a project, I mean, wasn't this how like Enron was partially sunk? That they started like, no, I don't know enough about that one. But like kind of in a real world situation, you get a bunch of investors behind a major product, and the developer of whatever product it is ends up just kind of shitting on a plate and handing it to you. Like, there is legal recourse there that like truly does ruin somebody. Whereas like Double Fine's still gonna be going. Double Fine keeps doing Kickstarters, and like they're able to do it. Maybe almost like, that would be an interesting one. What if Kickstarter actually just made it so, and, like, they wouldn't do this. I totally know why they wouldn't do this, but, like, what if Kickstarter just made it so that once you're on, like, once you've kind of screwed the pooch on a Kickstarter, they just don't let you back. That makes sense. Or, like, yeah, to kind of go with the Awesome Knots method. They made a very simple, basic, functional game, and then expanded it with DLC, Kickstarter, and stuff like that. Like, I'm okay with that. Because that's honest. That works. And, like, if they cut and run after, you know, making just the basic Awesome Knots, I would not fault them for that. Because they didn't take people's money and ran. It'd be awesome if you could fund Kickstarter projects in stages. Yeah, that would make sense. Like, actually, that's one of the things I really respect about Minecraft. They opened Minecraft up for sales, and I think it was, what, $10? And it got, like, super popular. So they got to beta, and then they increased the price to $20, and then $30. Like, that also made a lot of sense, because here you are, here's the product you are currently buying, and here's where, effectively, you can go with it. So here's what you buy right now. And as the game progresses, as it goes along, here's how it goes. And, like, I like that situation. Yes, I'm clipping a short corner of my nail there. But yeah, stage funding would actually make a hell of a lot of sense. And actually, I think now that we mention that, I think that is probably the best way for Kickstarter to work. Because, I mean, say the people of Yooka-Laylee put out a playable demo, 1 level, and they're like, $10. This is it. You know, there's no voice acting yet. We'll add that when we have enough money. But here's the playable demo. Because, I mean, they have enough to show it off. And, I mean, say the game's barely functional. You know, terrible frame rates and crashes every once in a while. And they're like, nope, this is what you get. This is the extent of what you have. And then they get to level 2, and a lot of those crashes, a lot of the voice acting disappears. They double the price. It's not $20. And I know this isn't going to be with Yooka-Laylee, because Yooka-Laylee, I think, is going to be $20, $25 at release. But still, you know, you have stage 2, which is more complete, more levels, price increases. Then finally, stage 3, 1.0 release, it goes off of Kickstarter, and there you go. I think that would actually make a lot of sense. Don't Starve is a great example of this. I don't think they kickstarted that one. I mean, it's truly, like, a lot of these you need to go into a situation... Like, a lot of these you need to kind of put some skin in the game in the beginning. And I think that's kind of the point. Where, like, with a lot of these Kickstarter projects, like, I'm going to go back to Shenmue. They have almost no skin in the game right now, apart from, like, a couple of designers. But, like, say they put in 4 months of work, which, you know, they actually have a playable copy of Shenmue 3. You know, it's just the first town. Maybe you can run around, pet a cat, talk to some people, play an arcade game. Then they're like, all right, we're putting it on Kickstarter. Here's where you go. I think that's the right way to do it. I think that's the best way to do it. And I'm kind of disappointed that that's not how things go. Alright, I think the game shit the bed. And I've finally come to a point where I'm satisfied with this topic. Oh, the sound effects are back. I'm going to take a drink of water. I have not touched the keyboard in like 3 minutes. I think this is why I like early access on like Vagante, Cavern Kings, and Vagante so much. Because all of them are complete products. Like, if they went 1.0 right now, I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed if they did, but I would be satisfied nonetheless. Would the dev fail their cash flow if they didn't get enough money in developing stage, so that's more money for early access? I mean, it's kind of one of those where it's like, say you put out Shenmue, and for $10 everybody can, oh hey, a frame. Say for $10 everybody can get Shenmue, this chapter, whatever, and they don't get enough to go on to the next stage. That's life. That happens. People knew what they were getting into. But I feel like with the, here's what you're buying into, and this is what you need to go with. And so, like, I guess, to do the comparison, I'm grumpy with Magicite because I felt like the developer promised a lot and then never dealt with it. But I bought the product that I currently have, and I'm dealing with it. But I'm disappointed because he'd made all these big promises and big advertisements, and it turned out not to be any of those things. But I guess, wow, shittily enough, I guess the answer is everything needs to start early access and go from there, not from, like, at all. Or, like, weirdly enough, the Telltale method is great. I hate it, but it's great. I just wait till it's done. I like the Vagante method better just because it's not a story-based thing. Yeah, some people got good mileage out of Magicite. I guess I'm just pissed because it's marketed to have online multiplayer and it doesn't function. I can't, like, the last 2 episodes of Magicite, I don't think I've ever even gotten at all to the end. Because the game just desyncs and kills everybody. So I guess, really, if the developer just fixed online multiplayer so it actually worked, or just, you know, only kicked you out 1 in 10 times as opposed to 9 out of 10 times, then I'd be okay with it. I think that would be better. Or just said, you know, in the advertising, Hey, I've got online multiplayer, it's barely functional. Sure, I'd be okay with that. Either way, though, I'm going to stop this. It was fun. I do not think we're going to be able to get past the half an hour mark. So, I will see you guys on the next episode of Cavern Kings. And as always, thanks for watching. What the hell even is this? I don't know. This is great. We're not getting to 3153. It's not gonna happen. I can't move my mouse. Oh wait, there we go. I can alt tab. Perfect. Oh man, I've already got task manager ready and raring to go. The worst thing about this though is this isn't even using anywhere close to the resources it could be. The game just itself on a code basis